What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from Brauerei Heller-Trum, aka Schlenkerla, and they are out of Bamberg, Germany, and this is their Erle Schwarzbier. So this is an Alderwood Smoked Schwarzbier that comes in at 4.2% alcohol by volume, 25 IBUs at the time of review. I don't know exactly how old this bottle is because it does not have a bottled on date. However, I checked their Instagram and I believe this was released for the first time back in early to mid-September of last year, 2023. And I picked this one up in, I want to say it was in late fall into early winter. I think I got this in November, December. So this is probably from the original release. I don't know if they do batches or, different releases of this, but I'm pretty sure they released it for the first time back in September of last year. And this is from the original batch, which means this is approximately like 8.5 months old. So hopefully it has held up, but we will see. So if you've been following the channel over the past year and a half, you know that I'm trying to get into smoked beers. It's one of those, not even styles because there's so many different smoked beers, but just smoked beers for me have kind of they don't resonate with me. But over the past year, some have. Schlenkerla is the world-class brewery producing them, and I've enjoyed them. Their Wiesel Rotbier was absolutely, I really like that. That was probably my favorite beer from them to date. And I saw this one, I'm like, I like German black lagers or Schwarzbiers, and I was like, this just sounds great. Plain and simple. So hopefully it tastes that good. I've heard from some folks that they don't like this one as much as some of the other ones because it doesn't have as intense of a smoke character. And I'm like, that's this guy. This beer's for me then, if that's the case. So we'll see how smoky this one is compared to their other offerings. So we're going to give it a pour here and see how it goes. So I'm looking forward to this one quite a bit. We'll do a little glug, glug, glug pour here. And at the end, try to generate a decent head. Something like that. That's looking real nice in the glass. So it's looking, exactly how you want out of a black lager. For me, I don't want it to look like a porter or stout. I want it to be kind of more of that like Coca-Cola root beer look to it, like more of like a dark brown. And that's exactly what it is. On camera, it's probably going to look more, I don't even know if it's pitch black or more like a straight dark brown, but down here it has like that cola root beer kind of look. Hold it up to the glass. It's more like a very dark, like maroon color. Has just over a finger of this beautiful, lightly, I'd say straight on tan colored or maybe even khaki colored head. Looks pretty creamy. Could probably swirl up even a better head out of this. But yeah, I think that looks beautiful. A little bit of chill haze on here, which happens, a little condensation as well. But it has a good clarity, even though like you probably can't see this. I can see the shadow of my hand through it. So, it's a lager. It has some good clarity. But yeah, it looks exactly how a Schwarzbier should look. Anyway, nose. Whoever said, and there's like 3 or 4 people that said that the smoke character wasn't that big in the nose, it's fucking there. They have a little spiel on the back that I'll try to remember to read at the end. They use Alderwood. And yeah, this has, again, that campfire smoke, which I do enjoy. It's not as, I'd like to say savory, like bacon or ham or like a smoked ham. It's kind of more like campfire smoke. But underneath that, there's nice like cocoa powder or like dark chocolate. There's a nice like brown bread quality. Maybe even a little bit of caramelized sugar, like a caramel or a toffee, or maybe even brown sugar. Has a nice, maybe I was devolve into some dusty road, maybe a little bit of, I was going to say, what was I going to say? If dusty road, I don't know. They're going to say a little bit of earthiness. I can't say earthiness. Yeah, a little bit of earthiness. I will say this. The smoke character is pretty pronounced in the nose. It is the predominant characteristic. It's like a blanket covering every single thing I can smell in this one. Maybe a touch of sulfur note as well. Yeah, it smells good, but it's campfire smoke meets like, roasty, toasty, darker beer characteristics. Like, that's what it is. Doesn't smell bad in the least. I hope it tastes pretty fucking good. Let's get into it. Prost, everyone. Okay. Now I see why people say it's not smoke. Oh, man. I fucking love this beer off of that for a sip. What? Yeah, this is my speed. This is my jam. This is for me. How the fuck was the nose that intense with the smokiness, and then the taste is much more mild and subdued? Still there, still noticeable. It just did a 180. Let's go body mouthfeel. It's definitely lighter at 4.2%, but it's not watery. It's like higher side of light, lower side of medium, maybe even approaching medium. It's great for 4.2%. It's okay for a beer as a whole, but for 4.2% beer, I think the body's really nice. The mouthfeel, it's crisp, has like a moderate carbonation, but it's still smooth, has a touch of creaminess to it. So I think the body and mouthfeel are really good. The taste, it just tastes like a well-made, well-executed, well-brewed German Schwarzbier with an accentuation of this campfire smoke. So right at the tip of the tongue, I get that campfire smoke. And again, it's a blanket, but it's unlike the nose where it just like kind of smothers the beer. It's just a blanket that's kind of hovering above. So it's like you're always noticing the smoke, but you're getting the rest of the characters in waves, and you can actually pick up on the rest of those characters. It's not like the smoke dominates the palate, which is awesome. So forefront, brown bread. It has like a roasty, toasty kind of brown bread. And then a lot of like a cocoa powder, like an unsweetened cocoa powder. A little bit of caramel toffee, brown sugar, a touch of a dark fruit. That's like the first half of the palate. And the second half, the malt characteristics start to kind of dissipate. And then I get this like earthy, slightly floral aspect on the finish. And that smoke, again, predominant note, but never, it's omnipresent, but never steps in the way. And that's exactly what I want out of my smoked beers. Finish is somewhat a full-on dry, very mild bitterness. The star of the show is the smoke, but I think 1A and 1B, the smoke, but then the actual maltiness of the Schwarzbier is just beautiful. Very clean on the palate as well. It's actually somewhat refreshing, believe it or not. This is fucking delicious. Is this my favorite smoke beer to date? Let's not say crazy shit, Joe, before you lock it in. I'll say two things. Number one, I can see why smoked beer purists and people who love like the lineup from Schlenkerla, some of those big, just meaty, like the Märzen, right? People love that. Their Helles, the Doppelbock, and some of the other beers they throw out there that have that intense smoky characteristic. And I think that's the biggest issue for me is it's hard for me and my palate to overcome how intense the smokiness is from those beers where it kind of just dominates the palate for me. It doesn't ruin the beer, but it definitely, for those beers specifically, kind of knocks them down in enjoyability just because it's just a bit too much for me. Where this, the nose was scaring me, and then I tasted it. I'm like, I get what people are saying now. So for people who love smoke beers, this might not be enough smoke in the taste for you, and I totally understand that. For somebody like myself who's trying to get into smoke beers and understand them and enjoy them, this is, for me, the beer that I wish I would have had the first time I tried a smoke beer, because this is very approachable to somebody who doesn't probably enjoy smoke beers. And that's why I'm enjoying it so much. It's again, I've only probably had maybe 15 or 20 smoke beers to date at this point. And what I have realized is I just don't want the overwhelming smoky beers. I want the beers that kind of, the base beer is accentuated by the smokiness and not vice versa. So this for me is probably at this point the best smoke beer that I've had. But taken to consideration, I'm not somebody who loves smoke beer. So this is like for the beginner smoke beer enthusiast. And I can't sit here and say it's not a well-made Schwarzbier, because it is. I think because it's so well-made, the base beer, I think it just adds to what I enjoy about it. So, yeah, this is pretty damn good. At 4.2%, you're not going to be able to taste it. Just picture a very well-done smoke beer a very well-done Schwarzbier with an accentuation of like a campfire smoke. And that's kind of what this is. This is a beer that I'm going to drink the rest of this, which I can't say for all smoke beers. And yeah, it's just very well done. So the Erle Schwarzbier, and I'm pronouncing all this incorrect, so don't hate me in the comments for not being able to pronounce German. Like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I can't even fucking pronounce English words for the most part. Anyway, I'm going to give this a straight on 4.5 out of 5. It's the fucking highest rating I've ever given a smoke beer. This is what I like out of smoke beers, and I hope I can find other breweries who do stuff like this, although Schlenkerla is the best. Maybe they'll release, like, that Rotbier from them was, very good as well. Probably like my second favorite. They've just done extremely well. I think from them, it's much more my speed, not as smoky. So Maybe that's why they're releasing them. They know they need to be a little bit more approachable for some people. So Schlenkerla, the historic smoked beer brewery. For our Schlenkerla Erle, a black lager, we dry the malt over fire made of very special alderwood instead of beech. They use beech wood for most of their stuff. Alderwood has a fine smoky character that is nuanced and complex. Yes. The smokiness is more campfire, but it's almost like, I don't know. The easiest way for me to explain it is just campfire as opposed to like a savory, like bacon, smoked ham, barbecue. This is more of like just your camp, like your neighbor, maybe someone down the street had a campfire and you're going out and you can smell it, right? So it has that subtle but noticeable smokiness. That's kind of what's in this beer for me. A high roasted malt content yields robust aromas in the dark, almost black color, 4.2%. So yeah, they're not lying. So I paid, price point availability, I paid around $5 for that. Bottle was 16.9 fluid ounces, so 500 milliliters, fine with that. It's imported, it's a smoked beer, like $5 a bottle is not crazy. And then availability, I don't know where this made it in the States here. It definitely got imported. I've seen this one in bottles, and then I think maybe a couple months later, it was in cans too. I know some people have gotten cans of it. So I picked up the bottle because that's the first thing that showed up. And yeah, so they probably have a beer finder. If not, if you have a good beer store in your area that does, is really good with the imported beers, you probably will find this one. I don't know if this is like added to their lineup as in they're going to have this one all over the place or once a year or whatever, but I'm really happy I picked it up. So 4.5 out of 5. If you had this one before, post in the comment section and let me know what you thought about it. I've heard from a couple people that said, again, this one wasn't as smoky, so they didn't enjoy it as the other Schlenkerlas. I think you're in one of two boats. Either you aren't a huge smoked beer fan, so this one works more for your palate. That's this guy. Or you love smoked beers, and while you probably do enjoy this one, you want more of an intense smokiness, so I totally get it. But either or, I think you probably would enjoy this beer, but let me know. So appreciate it. And to the next one. Cheers.